conflicts are definitely normal.
It's normal.
It's a normal part of any relationship. But if they're frequent, intense, remain unresolved,
that's the key.
That's the key, that there's something else going on. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of controlling women use their words to manipulate men. Mm-hmm. I mean, Delilah talked Samson right out of his whole future,
his whole
with her
destiny.
Life. So we use words and we use to the twat. You know all about it. That's what we use. So we pitch fit.
Did you say what?
We use the to the twat. You know what it is. Hello, good people, and welcome back to Relationship Talk with the Geths. All right, so today we're going to be looking at relationship warning signs. 10 red flags you should not ignore. Okay, so we talk to people all the time and they're dating and they're seeing different things, but they fine, so I'm gonna let it go. You let this go, you let that go. So Ed and Maya, what are some things that we should really pay attention to when we're out here dating? That's what we're gonna tackle today. Okay, y'all ready to jump in?
All right.
Okay, so number one, a lack of communication or poor communication. So communication is essential for a healthy relationship. If there's a consistent lack there or avoidance of important topics or inability to resolve conflict effectively, it can really indicate some underlying issues. So a lot of couples struggle with communication. So your partner not being a great communicator is not the red flag.
That's not a red flag, right.
So the red flag, the alarm sounds when they're not great and they're unwilling to work to be better.
That's
so, when people have things they're not good at and they're like, this is just who I am.
Just who I am. That's, hey,
I shut down and I don't like to revisit things. And they're not even willing to be open to work towards that. Yep. That's where the red flag comes in. Mm-hmm. So also listening is a part of communicating. So if your partner's not willing to listen to you and work to understand what's being said, that's a red flag. You definitely need to pause right there and figure out what's going on.
The key is, like you said, just because somebody may not get what you're saying, and you're like, let's just throw the whole thing away. No, are they willing to work with you? Hey, let's figure out the way we communicate. The first thing you can do is learn people's love language. That solves a lot of the communication woes that you may have. If you learn how people receive and give love, that's a huge step toward working toward it. But if they don't even want to make that step, flag on the plate.
We have a communication tool on our website, and that we really dug into because so many people need help here. It's something that we still use. And if you go to www.onevisionerc.com, click on marriage tools, it's for married couples, dating, engaged, or anyone who ever wants to be married and you want to learn how to communicate in relationships, then this will be a great tool for you. So you can go check that out. It's called Hear Me Out. So go check out that communication tool. Okay, so another red flag would be disrespect or contempt. So disrespectful behavior, like belittling someone, name calling, mocking, that's a significant red flag. So make sure that if someone's being dismissive towards you or calling you names, getting you all in your feelings, that can be really, really damaging. So your feelings matter. They should never be dismissed. Even if you're being ridiculous, the person you're in relationship with should pause and help you work through those things and not be, dismissive. I need a little something.
We'll figure it out. Let's get started.
And it's also never okay to be verbally abusive.
Okay.
Like some people don't realize that they're even being abusive because that's the environment that they grew up in. And they're thinking because they're not punching you in the face or, fighting you physically, that they're just being passionate. And they don't realize that the words they're using, the tone that they're using is very, very abusive. And so if you point this out and they don't want to work to make any improvements, like that's a red flag.
Yes, and now I want to just have a quick discussion. We're not talking about people who may be jokesters and are just like, come on, don't be so sensitive, or people who are sarcastic. Come on, you got to be able to, accept my humor. We're talking about disrespect to the point of disregard, like.
Well, even in humor and sarcasm, if you are being disrespected and you bring it to their attention,
right,
then that needs to be something that, that they are willing to work on.
Right.
Just because that's who you are naturally,
correct,
doesn't mean that's who you need to be in this relationship as it pertains to that. And if your humor is disrespectful, and some of it is, I mean, look at Dave Chappelle. I promise you, his natural sense of humor is going to feel disrespectful in a relationship.
That's a good point, but if you get with Dave Chappelle, you know you're going to have to deal with...
Let's not go as far as Dave Chappelle. Let's go to me.
Okay. Yeah, that's great.
Let's talk about my nature.
That's great point.
My nature is to cut deep, hard, and fast. And it's funny.
Her nickname is Jinsu.
Nobody nicknamed me that.
I nicknamed her Jinsu.
But being in relationship with him, I had to learn that some of the stuff that I thought might have been funny, or some stuff that I just throw out, he doesn't take to very well. And so I had to adjust the way I communicate with him so that he doesn't feel disrespected. And I think that's fair. You're not changing who I am as a person. You're making me more aware of how to love you the right way.
And on my end, I had to learn, like how you talk about that passionate thing. My family is loud. We in your face. And when you say something, we're like, hey, hey, hey. And
that's
you're like,
so much.
See what I'm saying? And she's like, hey, I'm literally like right here. Like, why are you talking at that level? And I had to learn that, hey, talking in a conversational tone is more effective.
Right, and it's disrespectful to me.
Yes, it is.
I take it as disrespect when you elevate your tone like that.
Right, yeah.
So
you get the who you talking to question and that.
I would love to know who you're talking to because it ain't me. So, so that's not okay. And so even though he did raise his voice, I talked to him about that and that he immediately started to work on it. I'm not saying he would never raise his voice again. I'm saying he's willing to be open and work on that. He told me some of my word choice was a little sharp for his liking, and he felt disrespected. And so I'm not saying I will never say anything that he deems disrespectful again, but I'm willing to work on it. So if your partner or the person that you're dating is unwilling to put in work to improve, that's where the red flag comes in.
That's where the key is.
You want to look at this?
Yeah, lack of trust or jealousy.
You need to.
Trust is the foundation of a strong relationship. If there is a lack of trust, constant jealousy, or controlling behavior, it can indicate insecurity, possessiveness, or potential emotional manipulation. Sometimes a lack of trust is indicative that they themselves can't be trusted. They don't trust you because they know what they would be doing if they were in your position.
Talk about it.
That's
the thing, right?
That's the thing. Like if you going through somebody else's phone, it's because you know what you're doing on your phone.
You know what's in your phone that you have erased. And you want to go see if they got something that they have not erased.
Absolutely. If somebody's at a club and you just itching, like, come on, let's ride by there.
Because you know what you do when you at the club.
You know what you do when you in the club. I don't like you hanging out with your girls all the time. Nah, y'all. No girls trip. You know why? Them guys trips.
There it is.
Look for girls on a girls trip. That's usually why that is. So you are not your partner's possession, and you need to keep a sense of individuality even within the relationship. It's easy to do, but dangerous to lose yourself in trying to be everything for another person.
And you just can't do that. Like you want to be a trustworthy person. You want to be trusted. You don't want your partner to be jealous. And so you want to prove to them that they can trust you. And that's cool. But you don't belong to them. So it's not your responsibility to like allow them to be stalkers, you know, and pop up out of the bushes just to, you know, that's not okay.
Yeah. Stop thinking that's cute. You know, I want my man a little bit jealous. So
Right.
I like it when my girl, you know, at least is willing to fight for me when another girl comes. No, that's not healthy. That's very toxic. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a cute thing to have in a meaningful relationship. You know, again, makes for a great story, makes for a terrible relationship.
I agree. So let's go over what we've covered so far. So red flags you should not ignore. Number 1, lack of communication or poor communication. Number 2, disrespect or contempt. Number 3, lack of trust or jealousy. Okay. Number 4, unresolved or escalating conflicts. Conflicts are definitely normal.
It's normal.
It's a normal part of any relationship. But if they're frequent, intense, remain unresolved,
That's the key.
That's the key that there's something else going on. So if you have recurring patterns of arguments just over and over and over, a refusal to address concerns or an inability to find a common ground, red flag, okay?
Yep.
So I joke with him all the time about this, but honestly, there is some truth here. Like I always tell him, let me tell you something. Yeah, three places.
Not the 3
absolutely not going. I'm not going to hell,
Hell,
labor and delivery, and back and forth with your. You know, I say the word, but for this, I'm gonna be like, it's the ASS. I be like, I ain't going back and forth with your ASS or whatever. And so, you know, I'm gonna be good. We laugh about it
all the time.
but I mean, when it gets to the point where you going back and forth and you arguing with somebody all the time, you're not making any real progress. Like, just pause so we can get to a better, you know, mental space, a more healthy space.
Yes.
Some people just love to argue, like it's a sport to them. So some people are so comfortable with the dysfunction of yelling and screaming.
Feel like you're
They want to live in constant conflict, and working on the improvements in the area, it makes them feel weak. And so they're like, "No, I ain't weak. You gonna hear what I got to say? I'm gonna say it like this because you don't understand me. I'm passionate. I'm not being loud and disrespectful. I'm passionate right now."
I feel like you're playing a picture.
No, I mean, I'm talking about other people, babe. And I wouldn't put your business out there.
Okay.
I wouldn't be like, you know, I'm talking to you right now. I wouldn't be doing all of that. You, that ain't you, is it, babe?
Not no more.
Yeah, right. Because you're willing to improve. Right.
Correct.
So, red flag with the people that want to bicker first thing in the morning.
Yes.
You got something to say about everything, and it's yeah, red flag. Okay.
Look for reasons to fight. This is speaking from a little bit of experience. Sometimes people who are used to dysfunction, either through past relationships, either through family upbringing, or just natural, aggression, love to create scenarios in their head, and they want what's in their head to be real life. Be aware of that. Be aware of people, make that aware to them, and then that person needs to be like, you know what? If I love this person enough, I need to change that environment, change the environment in here so that I can change the environment out there.
Good deal. Good deal. Number 5, power imbalances and control issues. Equality and mutual respect are crucial in a healthy relationship. If one partner consistently exerts control over the decisions, manipulates the other person, or seeks to dominate or undermine their autonomy, it can indicate an unhealthy power dynamic. So this is one of those things that's easy to spot from outside someone's relationship,
Yes.
but from the inside, I think a lot of people feel like they're just being a good partner or being agreeable. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like your family members can see like, he or she is controlling everything.
Controlling,
Like,
like,
I don't really like that. Like, what's going on?
Did you hear
But
how
you're
he
like,
just talked to you?
but you're like, no, they're not really being controlling. I'm just, trying to be a good partner, So narcissistic people, let's talk about them. They feel like they are so important that the people that they're in relationships with should want to work to please them. Like they're highly manipulative, like highly, and getting their own desires met. It's never about the other person. They also have a special ability to flip things and make their partner feel terrible when they are the ones that are in the wrong.
Yes, be aware of that. Like that's dealing with a narcissistic person leads to the detriment of the other person way quicker because narcissistic people don't even recognize that they are being damaging.
Right.
Again, their needs being met is their first, second, and third choice.
Right.
And
so let's take this scenario. Let's say that there's a guy that's out of town for work and he called his wife and she heard a female's voice in the background. So he like vehemently denied, like, no, there's no woman in the room. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're going crazy. So he went on and on and on and on to the point where she started to feel bad for even asking him. Now she feels crazy because she was sure she heard somebody's voice. And he did all of that to make her feel like why would you even ask me that? And so now she's thinking like, man, maybe I have trust issues. Like, why would I question my man when he really sitting up there with a woman? Like, and so when women are controlling, it shows up a little differently. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, women use what Jezebel and Delilah used. You know what I'm saying? We use words to manipulate because a lot of men have words of affirmation as their love language.
yes.
And so you can speak life into them, but you can also speak detriment. And so a lot of controlling women use their words to manipulate men. I mean, Delilah talked Samson right out of his whole future,
his whole
with her
destiny.
life. So we use words and we use to the twat. You know all about it. That's what we use. So we pitch fit.
Did you say what?
We use it to the twat. You know what it is. So we pitch fits and we show out. We smother you with sex so that you're willing to alienate your friends and family members. And so narcissistic women, they control you by telling you what you want to hear and making you feel the way you want to feel.
Boy,
and then they control the whole situation.
That's good. That's good. Beware.
I want to let that sink in.
Oh, yeah, we got to let that one
I'm going to let that sink in. Those first 5.
Yes.
And then we're going to cut and we're going to come back for a part 2.
Yeah,
so you can get these. I'm going to make you come on back so you can get these next 5. So before, look, I want to make sure you don't miss them. So go ahead, if you have not already, hit the subscribe button so you can get the alert when part 2 gets here. And go ahead and like and share so we can get everybody out here aware of these red flags because they need to know. Okay?
Be aware.
So if you want to check out any of our relationship coaching or anything else that we offer, any of our getaways, just go right on over to our website at www.onevisionerc.com. Click on the link below and you can see everything that we offer. Thank you so much for getting in with us, and we will see you in part 2 for the next 5 red flags to look for when you're dating.